Hi, I am Ing Wei. Our group is Group 25, and this is our topic, Smart Attendance Tracking System, and this is my group member. And for this is our architecture diagram. And for now, I am responsible to present this three part, and this is the user device. The user device typically is smartphone and other mobile device. User devices are equipped with Bluetooth capability to allow them to detect the Bluetooth signal from Bluetooth beacon. And this is the Bluetooth beacon. The Bluetooth beacon will be placed in classroom or relevant location. When the user device comes with the range of a beacon, it will detect the beacon signal and start connection with it. And this is the AWS IoT Core. AWS IoT Core is used to enable communication between IoT devices such as user device and Bluetooth beacon. It serves as middleware that facilitate communication between user device and backend system, such as database and the rundown function. Firstly, I already subscribed the topic A, topic B, and the IMEI 12369. Then I can start up the user device first. After that, we can see the topic A already show the message IMEI 12369, and then we connect to the Bluetooth beacon. And the topic B also will show the IMEI 12369. And the Bluetooth beacon also will check the IMEI is exists or not at the DynamoDB. If not, the IMEI/12369 will show the device is not registered. And we need to input some student information at the user device for first time access, and the information will posted to DynamoDB using this API. And then we can start to input the user ID, name, and the password. So after the register, we can see the attendance already recorded. And so for this demo, is 5 seconds to record one time, but actually is 10 minutes for one time. For the demo, we trying to set the 5 seconds. And we can see the DynamoDB. For the 12369 record already recorded. And then for this IMEI, the student no need to input the student information again at the next time. It will directly update the attendance to the DynamoDB using this API. And sometimes maybe some student maybe change the new device with a different IMEI. So let me show the example. I changed the IMEI to the 12370, and I stop the device first, and I stop the Bluetooth beacon. And then I'm trying to connect this device and connect to the Bluetooth beacon. And then it shows the device is not registered. So for this, we need to input same student ID, because it will match the student ID, and if the student ID is matched, it will update the user device using this update API. So I continue to input another information. So after input, and we can see at the DynamoDB. So I refresh again, and you can see the IMEI already updated to the 12370. So also have another condition. So some student maybe accidentally turn off the Bluetooth and disconnect Bluetooth. And if the student is trying to reconnect the Bluetooth beacon, and I show to you, see. So I reconnect the Bluetooth beacon, and the attendance will starting with 00002. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Pan Sen. Then my student ID is 2106605. So I would like to present the part on how the API gateway can help to insert the data into the DynamoDB. So this is general for the API gateway. Trigger the Lambda and then do the insertion job into the DynamoDB. So there are generally 3 types of the API that we use in this assignment. So the first one is the post API that check the student ID, return the info body. Another 2 is the get API that retrieve the info with student IMEI information. Then another is the post API that helps you insert the data for the attendance record. So now I will demonstrate to you how the API works. So I will use the postman as the client to do the insertion job. So now I retrieve the IMEI first. See, if this IMEI exit in the DynamoDB. So as you can see, this IMEI is no file. So because I haven't insert this data into the DynamoDB, so I will insert now using this post API that just now I said before. So I have done the insertion. Now you can see the item already successfully inserted into the DynamoDB. I can use the get to retrieve the item now. So you can see the item is now being retrieved. So if now I have the different IMEI, so I want to update the device IMEI. How? I can use this post API also. So if I enter the incorrect student ID, they say 424, it will say 424 is not found. So if I enter the correct 423, it will return me the API. Then successfully insert outdated. Okay. So now if I try to get this 888, it will say no found. So it will help to update the device IMEI. Okay. So after this, you can see this API that I have configured in the API gateway. This is the get, this is a post in the attendance info. Then this is a post that under this outdated device resources. Okay, and then this is the lambdas that the API gateway will trigger and then do the insertion in the outdates and then the get job. Okay. So I will continue to another flow, which is the insertion of the attendance data into the RDS. So this RDS will be inserted via this cloud event triggering the lambda. So this cloud event is configured that using the rule such as the regular time each 12 or each 1 day, it will trigger this lambda to access this DynamoDB and then insert the data into the RDS. So this lambda will process the data from the raw DynamoDB, so it can be inserted into the RDS. So the RDS that I inserted is the attendance table, and then I outdate the content in the registered course table. Okay, this is the attribute, and then this is the attribute that's outdated. Okay, now proceed to the demonstration. So as you can see, this lambda for DynamoDB to RDS. So it triggers via the event bridge or the cloud watch event lab. So this is the code on how this can be done. So you can see this is the rules that I configure. So every 1 day, we will trigger this DynamoDB to RDS lambda to do the insertion job. So now we see the data first. You can see that the registered course have this 423 student ID, and then the attend duration is 00, and then we see the attendance is nothing. So how about we try to trigger this lambda by using this test? Okay, we use this, trigger the lambda, and then try to access again the RDS, see whether this, okay, you can see the attendance have been outdated. So you can see this attendance also have been inserted. So this is how this can be done via the lambda. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dilip from Group25. I will show the event of CloudWatch trigger lambda for SES notification. You can see there is an event bridge here. The CloudWatch event mechanism operates similarly to the previous one at DynamoDB just now. The predefined rule is set to trigger a lambda every 24 hours. First, the code here shows the connection to RDS. Then it will count the attendance percentage from the table. If the attendance is below 80%, it will notify the certain student via email. Here is the sender email, and here is the receiver email. The student email is retrieved from the RDS table to enable dynamic sending of email based on their latest information. And here is the query to calculate the attendance percentage. So you can see here, the student with student ID 323 is below 80%. So he will receive an email which notify him the attendance rate is below 80. However, it is important for both the sender and the receiver to verify their email address before the sending and receiving. So if there is no student below the threshold, the Lambda function stop executing and wait for another trigger to perform future tasks. In this part, the CloudWatch event trigger Lambda to store the data from RDS to S3 bucket. The CloudWatch rule remains the same, which trigger a Lambda function every 24 hours. This approach is to keep the data consistent and up to date, thereby allowing data analysis in AWS Antenna to work with the latest available data. The code here first establish a connection to the RDS and then execute a query to fetch the data from the database and store it into S3 with the desired file path. Here is the file that import from the RDS database.
Good morning, sir. My name is Barry Jun and my student ID is 2005218. Now I'll present about the antenna part in our system. First, go to the antenna and I want to get the data from S3 for analysis. This is the location of the data in S3 and they have the attendance information inside it. First, we need to create the external table. After that, you can see the attendance table is created. Now I will display the information inside the table. You can see in the table they have the number of students, time slot such as the morning, afternoon and evening, and other attendance date and the location. The admin or lecturer also can use the table to do the analysis. For example, I want to search the number of students in 6th April morning, and this is the result of the query. In the morning they have one student in LDK 5 and one student in LDK 1. That's all for me. Thank you for listening.